Hello, today I'm going to make some chicken and leek pie, and what I'm going to use to do it is some chicken thighs. I like chicken thighs because they're very tasty and they're also very cheap, and what we're going to do is poach them. So I'm just going to get some cold water in here and not quite cover the chicken. This can then go onto the heat and we're going to bring it up to the simmer and poach them for a couple of hours. While I wait for that to poach, what we can do is make the pastry for the pie. So I have some plain flour and I'm going to weigh it out 500 grams. To the flour, I'm going to add 1 pack or 250 grams of salted butter. I'm just going to get this diced and added in. Now, with my hands in, I can get this all rubbed together until you got that kind of breadcrumby consistency. With all the butter rubbed in, I'm now going to get 2 eggs cracked into there and get my hand back in to bring it all together. Now it's going to need a bit more moisture, and what I have is just some cold water, and I'm going to put a few splashes in until this all comes together into a nice ball. Now I'm going to get this divided into 3 and cling filmed up. Now I think we're going to need 2 bits for our pie, and that means I can get 1 piece, put into the freezer, so I've got some pastry for another project. These can now go into the fridge to rest until we need them in a bit. Now while we wait for that chicken to poach, what we can do is do some of the veg prep for the pie. To start with, I've got some leeks that I'm going to split down the length and slice, and get them in the colander and give them a good wash. Next, I have a couple of onions to get peeled and sliced. The last veg to chop is just a couple of cloves of garlic that I'm going to get minced. These are now nicely poached after a couple of hours, so I'm going to get them removed onto a plate just to cool down a little. Now I'm going to drain all this cooking liquid, because the good thing is, not only has this poached our chicken, it has made us a batch of lovely chicken stock. That chicken is shredding off the bone, but it's a bit hot, so whilst I wait for it to cool down, I've got a pan heating up, which I'm going to get a knob of butter put in, and then we can add our leeks and our onions and garlic, and we're going to cook this down for several minutes until these are lovely and soft. Whilst I wait for this to all sweat down, I'm going to start doing this chicken. So I'm going to get the skin removed and all the meat shredded off the bone. It's all softening up nicely, and what I have is a few sprigs of fresh thyme to go in there, and we're just going to cook those for 1 minute. Next we're going to get in a tablespoon of plain flour, and we're going to just cook that out for a couple of minutes. Our homemade chicken stock can now go in, and I'm going to bring this up to the simmer and allow this to thicken up into a nice sauce. This is now thickened up lovely, so I'm going to get the chicken added in and stirred through. Last job is just to season it And then I'm going to put it aside to cool slightly while we get on with the pastry. I've got my pastry back out the fridge. Now, time to flour the workbench and get it rolled out. When I have it so it's rolled out bigger than my pie dish, I can get it rolled up onto my pin and draped over my dish. Right, I'm going to get this moved to one side and then get my filling put in. Now I've got a second bit of pastry rolled out to be the lid for this pie. Before I can get that lid put on, I'm going to whisk up an egg and get it brushed around the edge of my pie. The lid can now get draped over the top, and I'm going to go round crimping it on with just my thumbs to the bit below. All this excess pastry can get trimmed off with a little paring knife. And while I have the knife, I'm also just going to make a little cut right in the centre of the pie for the steam to escape. Last job is just to give the whole of the top a brush with the rest of our egg wash. And then I can get the oven heating up to 200 degrees centigrade. This can now go in the oven for 40 minutes. That's been 40 minutes, so let's see how this looks. So all that's left to do now is cut into this and see how it looks. So there we go, some chicken and leek pie. Now the great thing about this recipe, if you want to add some bacon, mushrooms, ham, all of the above, you can really just adapt it to how you want it. So, I'm going to go and enjoy this. Thank you.